The 1995 NASCAR Winston Cup season brought the re-emergence of the dominant Chevrolet Monte Carlo, the return of one of the sport's great heroes, and a points battle between a young buck and the stern old champion that went down to the final race. Sterling Marlin chose the muscle that gave him a win earlier in the week, and he gets by Earnhardt on lap 3. Marlin proves to be strong as he goes on to lead the next 26 laps until an equally strong Jeff Gordon takes over the top spot. The two swap the point back and forth until the racing resumes. Things look great for Gordon as he holds the point until lap 98. This, after a disappointing effort at Daytona, Jeff Gordon and his Rainbow Warriors rally to take the pole for the Goodwrench 500 at Rockingham. Gordon's DuPont car is strong and is rarely challenged for the top spot. But meantime, no one can catch Jeff Gordon as he leads 329 of the 492 laps to collect the third win of his young career, his first ever at the Rock. And because of his start first, finish first effort, Gordon picks up a $91,200 bonus from Unocal, making his total payday better than $167,000. A snowy Friday cancels all opening day activities at Richmond, but Jeff Gordon remains hot, capturing the pole on Saturday for the Pontiac Excitement 400. When the race finally gets underway, Dale Earnhardt takes the early lead, but Jeff Gordon is right on his tail. Gordon briefly takes the lead, only to have Earnhardt take it right back in typical Ironhead fashion. But on lap 63, Gordon takes the lead outright and puts a clamp on the top spot for 250 of the next 266 laps. Scary, with Gordon running away with the show, holding a 17-second lead, leave it to his teammate Kenny Schrader to bunch up the field on lap 300 with a spin in turn 1. After pit stops, Bobby Labonte makes a big charge for Gordon's top spot. But after 13 laps of close battling, Labonte's charge falls just 1/10 of a second short as Jeff Gordon wins the Purolator 500, his second victory of 1995, making it 4 wins in 4 races for the brand new Chevrolet Monte Carlo.
This thing was on the rail. Bobby gave me a little bit of, he got me pretty nervous there at the end of the race. But, you know, we came here to Atlanta with the same car that we race in Rockingham. It's an awesome car. Man, we might have to take this thing everywhere.
Up drivers at Darlington. A fresh coat of asphalt makes for a record qualifying run for Jeff Gordon, over 170 miles an hour. Meanwhile, Jeff Gordon is once again the dominant car, staying out front for most of the afternoon, leading 160 of the first 190 laps. The popular belief is that this race will be won by the best team, and not necessarily by a car that has an advantage. Ford qualifies on the pole, Jeff Gordon outside row number 1 in a Chevrolet, and Kyle Petty starts third in his Pontiac. It's those 3 drivers that keep the lead amongst themselves for the first 260 laps, exchanging the point 7 times. Dale, with 100 laps to go, Jeff Gordon gets by Mark Martin to take the lead for good. Gordon, never really a fan of the short tracks, tops his best finish of 17th at Bristol with a win in the Food City 500, outlasting Rusty Wallace by 6 seconds. Jeff Gordon, continuing his hot streak, captures his 4th Busch pole of 1995, this time at North Wilkesboro for the First Union 400. The Monte Carlo continues to dominate as Gordon and Dale Earnhardt run away with the show, exchanging the lead several times. The only 4. His 21st place finish at Talladega Superspeedway dropped Dale Earnhardt into an even draw with Jeff Gordon, each man with 1,314 points. But with more wins, 3 to Earnhardt's 1, Gordon leads the points and takes a $100,000 bonus home from the R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company as the point leader 1/3 of the way through the 1995 season. The lights of the Charlotte Motor Speedway shine brightly on NASCAR Winston Cup Racing's all-star event, the Winston Select. Perhaps the Jeff Gordon Show would be a more fitting title, as the boy wonder has the car to beat, whipping the field in the first of 3 segments. After inverting the field following segment 1, It only takes Gordon and his rocket ship 17 laps to get to the front again, as he holds off the field one more time, winning segment 2, bringing up another $50,000 for a total so far of $100,000 with one 10-lap segment remaining. As always seems to be the case, there's lots of excitement in segment 3, and it starts right off the bat with Darrell Waltrip and Dale Earnhardt gunning for the top spot. They team up on Jeff Gordon, passing him on both sides as they head into turn 3 with a big head of steam. But as they made their way out of 4, Earnhardt's car slips and slides right into DW's machine, forcing him into the wall. When the dust settles, it's guess who still on the point? Jeff Gordon holding off Sterling Marlin to win the Winston Select and collecting a cool $300,000 for sweeping all 3 segments. Jeff Gordon's success in the Winston Select makes him the clear favorite for the Coca-Cola 600 the following week at Charlotte. Jeff Gordon stands up to his team's fine work, thank you, as the DuPont car captures another Busch pole. Pole sitter Jeff Gordon holds the lead for the early part of the race. Pole sitter Schrader, like the rest of the field, spent most of his day chasing teammate Jeff Gordon, as the DuPont car is once again the class of the field. One time, Gordon even made a green flag pit stop and never lost the lead. And here's a real surprise. Jeff Gordon is the man with the fastest car, capturing his 7th Busch pole of the season. Ricky Rudd, the outside pole sitter, and Gordon switched the lead back and forth through the early going. Then trouble for meantime, the late duel is between Jeff Gordon and Bobby Labonte. Gordon shoots past Labonte with 16 laps left, but nothing could slow down Jeff Gordon, who leads the most laps. Gordon puts the whip to his DuPont horses, and he's able to fend off a challenge from Sterling Marlin and Dale Earnhardt to capture his 4th win of the 1995 season at the Pepsi 400.
You know, we had a great pit stop. We lost this thing in the pits here in February, and my guys know it. But they're strong. They fought back, and they won this one for us in the pits. They got us out there first. I said, all you have to do is get me out first, and we can hold them off. I didn't want to see that caution because Earnhardt's the best there is on restarts, and luckily him and Sterling were battling back there, and we come across the finish first, man. It was awesome.
After winning the Pepsi 400, Jeff Gordon tries to become the first driver in 1995 to win back-to-back races. His chance comes at New Hampshire International Speedway. But in qualifying, Gordon doesn't have his usual success. After hitting the wall, Jeff has to resort to second-round qualifying, starting 21st as race day is approached, until Jeff Gordon and crew chief Ray Evernham decide to use a little strategy. This 8-second, 2-tire stop moves Gordon from 15th to 1st. As for Jeff Gordon, well, let's just say his storybook year continues as he leads New Hampshire with his 5th win of the year and the point lead as well. Gordon wins the Slick 50 300, moving 35 points ahead of Sterling Marlin and collecting yet another bonus, this time $50,000 from Gatorade for leading the points at halfway through the 1995 season. Jeff Gordon, however, has the dominant car, leading for most of the afternoon. Gordon, after a delay of almost 4 hours, the green flag falls at 4:25 in the afternoon, with hometown favorite Jeff Gordon starting from the pole. The combination of Jeff Gordon's second straight third-place finish, coupled with Dale Earnhardt's 35th place effort at Michigan, results in Gordon strengthening his hold on the top spot in the NASCAR Winston Cup point standings. Then point leader Jeff Gordon brings out caution number 4 on lap 136. He spins and triggers a multi-car accident that includes Jeremy Mayfield, Ricky Rudd, and Jeff Burton. Gordon comes away with minimal damage. But the young Gordon shows some great patience as he fights his way back to the front, biding his time, eventually passing Hut Strickland to take the lead for good with 34 laps to go, and holding off the best veterans in the business in the form of Dale Earnhardt, who finishes second, and Rusty Wallace, who comes home third. Jeff Gordon makes a big statement by winning the Southern 500, not to mention taking a big step towards his first NASCAR Winston Cup championship.
I tell you, this team was championship caliber today, that's for sure. We had to come back from a lot of things. We had to fight. And you know, I've never really been in a battle with Earnhardt, rusting them towards the end, and that was a great accomplishment for me and this team. But, you know, the car was not that good at the beginning of the race, and, man, they just kept working. We were a championship caliber team today, and I'm real proud of this DuPont Chevrolet.
With Jeff Gordon's win and Mark Martin's poor finish, Gordon extends his NASCAR Winston Cup point lead to 217 over second-place Sterling Marlin. Rick Mast dominates the qualifying story at Dover, collecting his first Busch pole of 1995. But Jeff Gordon dominates the race. Gordon takes command early and sends a message that he wants to put away the NASCAR Winston Cup championship. The only thing that could slow Gordon was Doyle Ford's yellow flag. Meanwhile, Gordon holds off a scrappy Bobby Hamilton, who collects his career best finish as runner-up to Jeff Gordon. Gordon dominated the MBNA 500, leading 400 of the 500 laps. He has upped his point lead to a seemingly insurmountable 309 over Dale Earnhardt, with only 6 races remaining in the 1995 season. But it also canceled qualifying for the Goodies 500, giving Jeff Gordon his 8th Busch pole of 1995 by virtue of leading the NASCAR Winston Cup points. Jeff Gordon 5th as the Intimidator picks up a scant 15 points. But all Jeff Gordon has to do at Atlanta is finish no worse than 41st, and the 1995 NASCAR Winston Cup championship would be his. And the second place man, Jeff Gordon, inherits the lead, giving him 5 bonus points as he clinches the 1995 NASCAR Winston Cup championship. As Earnhardt wins the battle, but Jeff Gordon wins the war. Jeff Gordon wins the NASCAR Winston Cup title by just 34 points over Dale Earnhardt. But for Jeff Gordon, it was a spectacular year, winning the title in only his 3rd year on the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit. For a young man who has achieved an awful lot in a short time, this was a very emotional day.
The Winston Cup championship is just the ultimate thing, and now here I am achieving it, and it's too good to be true, but I know it's reality, it's happening, but it's like there are no words to describe what it feels like to be able to achieve this goal. It's unbelievable.
Several times during the season, this team could have given up, but the crew, nicknamed the Rainbow Warriors, well, they just don't know the meaning of quit. First, that non-approved hub at Charlotte, but still they rallied to capture the pole shortly thereafter at Dover. Then, following a wreck during qualifying at New Hampshire, Gordon comes from 21st starting position to win the race. And at Darlington, Gordon battled an ill-handling race car all day long, only to come back and win the Southern 500. For Jeff Gordon and his crew, this 1995 NASCAR Winston Cup championship is very well deserved.
It couldn't have been any sweeter than to race Dale Earnhardt for a championship. I mean, you know, he's the greatest Winston Cup driver out there. I think the greatest driver I'll ever race against. And you know, to be able to you know, keep him from winning his 8th championship, it makes it a lot more special. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I really mean that in a very, very positive way.
So it's been a long, grueling season in which Jeff Gordon and his crew battled with the best veterans in the business and won. Jeff Gordon, though, says this championship is one he'll remember forever, one that he'll never take for granted.
I never, ever would have guessed in a million years I mean, even my whole career, I mean, I could be 40 years old, winning my first Winston Cup championship, racing Winston Cup for 20 years, and I would be saying, this is the greatest, you know? And so here it is 3 years, and I don't know what to do. I mean, I don't know what to do next, you know? But it's something that we're going to enjoy right now, and something that's great to think about for the rest of the year.
Well, it all came down to this bone-chilling, blustery November the 12th here in Atlanta, Georgia. A long way from back in Daytona Beach when that jack problem had Jeff Gordon derailed early in the year, playing catch-up from the month of February on. But it all ends here today with his first ever NASCAR Winston Cup Series championship, the second youngest driver to ever grab the NASCAR title. We hope you've enjoyed our look back at the 1995 season. It's been a great year. 1996 looms just ahead with better racing than ever before. So long, everybody.